Welcome to the Mind of Basketball Podcast, also known as M.O.B Podcast, episode 111. I'm Evan.
I'm Ja.
This is our basketball podcast, where we recap, break down, and analyze players and teams from previous games from the previous day. How are you doing this Wednesday, Ja? Doing good, doing good. I see that you're awake. I'm doing good as well. I hope everyone's having a good day, or everyone will have a good day. Much to discuss in the basketball world, unless Ja just falls asleep. But we'll get into it first. Starting off with the Los Angeles Clippers and the Portland Trail Blazers, and this was a entertaining game from the get go. No Dame for the Blazers, no Kawhi for the Clippers. Matter of fact, I believe that Kawhi will be out for the next week.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kawhi will be out for the next week. But that didn't stop the Clippers team from playing well. That didn't stop the Trailblazers team from playing well. Back and forth fair for most part of that first half. Clippers, Paul George had it going. Blazers, Norman Powell and CJ, he had it going. They stepped up. But yeah, and the game really didn't change that much until really that fourth quarter. You want to say?
Yeah.
In which the
close. It was just a close battle.
Yeah, in which the fourth quarter, the Blazers kind of got out to a bit of a lead, small amount of a lead, but this was late in the fourth quarter. They were up by like 6, and they were up by 5 with about a minute left. CJ had hit a big 3, and then it became the Paul George show. Not only become the Paul George show, he had attacked the lane, big buckets down the stretch for them. And they also played great defense, tighten up their defense. Blazers couldn't score in that final minute. And I believe the Clippers down by 1. Norman Powell missed a 3. So Clippers chose not to go timeout, run the length of the floor, give it to Paul George. Paul George gets fouled by CJ. He hits both free throws with 4 seconds left. The Blazers do have a timeout. They call it. They give it to CJ. Final shot has a good look. I wouldn't say open look because there were Clippers bodies around there, but a good look, but it didn't go. And as a result, it was the Clippers picking up the win. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah. You see how different it looks. How different the outcome looks when Dame not playing, because they don't know how to work with defending Dame. But yet, look it was a close game. It was a good battle, and both teams came to play, and the more talent. Well, I'm not gonna say the more talented team came out victorious, but I could say it came down to the wire, and the other team, one team just got hot at the right moment.
Yeah. The Clippers, they really did get hot in that fourth quarter, when they needed to. Rondo was big time for them. They played through him a lot, throughout the game. Him calling plays. Not only they played through him a lot, they played through DeMarcus Cousins in that fourth quarter a lot too.
Yeah.
Dishing to him the ball in the post, and Cousins is a good passer. So usually they send weak side help the Blazers, and he would dish it out, find open man. But when they were playing through him, and this is part where they started to struggle a little bit, when they were playing through him, he didn't make the right passes. They just couldn't really hit their shots.
Yeah.
Their 3-point shots, the open looks they had. And so Blazers, being the Blazers, they took advantage of that. And that's how all that kind of started for the Blazers, getting up to that little bit of that lead.
Yeah.
But yeah, give Paul George the credit. He balled last night, and he's been balling this entire season. He hit those clutch free throws. He was clutch in that final minute. Attacking, being aggressive, getting to the basket, getting layups, not settling. That's what I love to see for Paul George.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. And he kind of willed this team into this win.
Yeah. PG-13, not pandemic P. Here we go.
Yeah, no pandemic P, no pandemic P. Yeah, and this Clippers team, they've been playing great basketball. They really have been playing great basketball.
Well, yeah, man. I think especially ever since getting Rondo, you see the Tides, you see them start to play. Well, they was always playing with more of a flow, but you could see how like Rondo adds more of that, like how do you call it?
Experience.
Yeah, he's a better orchestrator,
Yeah.
and you can see it.
Yep, I definitely agree with you there. As a result, it was the Clippers winning this game by 1. All right, on to the earlier game right before that game, the game that took place right before that game. The Brooklyn Nets going up against the New Orleans Pelicans. And from the jump, the Pelicans uh, got it going. They got out to a hot start. Nets really couldn't get into rhythm. But they got into rhythm, them being the Nets, and them having that offense, and them having somebody that goes by the name of Irving. So it was only a matter of time for them. So they did, and then it was really back and forth. The third quarter hit, and the Nets was the ones to get out in front.
Yeah.
In that third quarter, but then after that, Pelicans were battling back, and Zion was a big contributor to that. He was just bullying ball, bully ball, bully ball, bully ball, attacking, being aggressive, getting to the paint. I mean, strong layups, and yeah, this game came down to the wire,
Yeah.
and in which a game that on Sunday, Kyrie struggled late in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Kyrie be Kyrie in this game.
Yes.
Kyrie
Yes.
showing
Yeah.
up in the fourth quarter, getting clutch shots, making clutch shots. He made the last 3 buckets for the Nets in those final minutes.
Yeah, again, I told you this is rare. It's uncharacteristic to see Kyrie go cold in the most important moments of the game, in which your team needs some buckets to get not only give them a lead but close out the game for them. So, I said it's rare that he ever has a moment like this, and I knew he was gonna never have a moment like this again for a good minute, and he proved me right. He proved me correct. Correct. Comes out. He learns from last game. Comes out, balls out, and put his team on his back within that fourth quarter by doing what he does, making clutch baskets in order to close out the game after being down.
Yeah. And not only was he clutch on offense, he was clutch on defense too.
Mm-hmm.
You got He's still late. Also, had great defense on Zion of all people. Him and Zion, that doesn't really look well in terms of that defense to offense between them two. But yeah, mentioned the Nets had a 2-point lead late. Kyrie hits a big shot, the dribbling god. It's that tough jump shot on Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
Then they up by 3. He somehow loses control of the ball, gets possession again, and then
Oh,
lays the
mad
ball
people
up.
and layup.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that was just absolutely ridiculous. But the Pelicans just not stop. They still had a chance.
Yeah.
They were down by 3. No timeouts. Steven Adams, full court pass to Zion, gets it on the 3-point line. And as I mentioned, Kyrie, great defense, kind of knocks the ball down. Even though Zion still had possession after that, it kind of messed him up. And once he took a bounce, his hand was off balance and the ball went out of bounds upon review. It was off of Zion. And that defense and that closing sequence, the Nets do take this game.
Well, yeah, man. This was highly close, highly competitive, and don't get me wrong. For a second, obviously in the beginning, I thought that the Pelicans had this. I thought this was a game that the Pelicans had. I'm not gonna lie. Even though I did go with the Nets, I thought that the Pelicans. This was probably an opportunity because I forgot KD was not playing, but the Pelicans being who they are, Just
Listen,
find some ways to give up the ball. Well, they didn't give it up in the fourth quarter because they did not go into the fourth quarter with the lead, but
true.
they did have it for a majority of this part of the game, and they found some way to give up the lead real quickly. So,
Well,
and he had good defense.
yeah. But I wouldn't say that this falls under the Pelicans giving up a lead category. This does go in the category of Pelicans not coming up big late category. However,
Okay, I see where
uh,
you're going.
yeah, because I mean, once I say midway through the fourth quarter, I knew the Pelicans wasn't going to win this game. I picked them to win, but I just knew it wasn't going to win this game.
Yeah,
They're now 4 games behind the Spurs in the playing game, and each loss it is just getting dim. That possibility.
I know it's tough. It's real tough. Like, you know what I mean? Because this is a team who you felt like was going to make that hump because last season you saw when Zion came back for those last stretch of games, how impactful he was and how much it impacted the team because they started winning a little bit more. Or you start to see ties start to change in which they went from losing games to having an opportunity to at least win them or lose in a close situation. This season, I don't know what it is. I think they're still trying to fit something. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they're trying to truly do, but I just don't think they got it all figured out yet.
No, yeah, I agree. They don't have it all figured out yet,
Yeah,
even
so
with
I
the
just
talent
think
they have.
exactly. So I don't know what it has to be. I doubt it's coaching. I feel like Stan Van Gundy's been doing a real good job. This is a defensive coach who has become more of a offensive kind of orientated coach because this team is more built offensively and they have the potential to be great defensively because they have a lot of tools on that team that could do work on the defensive end. But yeah, just something that needs to change down there. Just something missing, just a piece. I don't know what it is.
Yep. Well, they might have to figure that out next year because it doesn't look like they get into that playing game. But hey, still basketball to be played. All right. Other games. Yeah, other games around the league. Anything you like to go over? Anything you like to talk about?
Um,
Only a few games around the
one
league.
yeah, the one game I like to go over is the Knicks versus the Hornets, and this was a really close battle in the first half, but then as I always like to say, like, today's new important quarter, the third quarter, your Knicks came alive. Like, you know what I mean? They came alive big and they went on a big run. Like, you know what I mean? Just playing flowing basketball from threes, defense, getting into the paint. Like, like the Hornets basically went on. I'm not gonna say they went on the stump because they didn't just score like single digit points, but the point margin between the Knicks and the Hornets in that third quarter was eye opening. I think the Knicks outscored them like 33-35 to like 18-20.
Yeah.
They just went on a roll in that third quarter. And even though the Hornets found themselves being back into the game within the fourth quarter, it just wasn't enough. The Knicks, that third quarter really did big for the Knicks to help them win this game.
And not the whole team Knicks in that third quarter, but specifically a player, number 9. Just like the amount of minutes I had to wait for you to start the podcast. But or with quotation marks, because that wasn't 9 minutes. But RJ Barrett, man, did he have himself a big third quarter.
Yeah.
18 points in that third quarter, 18 out of his 24, and he came alive. I mean, he literally wasn't missing. He was on fire. And he's been having himself a great year, improvement over last year. And the Knicks, 7 in a row by these New York Knicks, playing absolutely great basketball. Got to give credit to everybody around. Derrick Rose, who's been stepping up for them, coming from Detroit, who's been playing well. Manuel quickly, even when he doesn't have a lot of minutes, he's still playing well. RJ Barrett just mentioned Julius Randle, the all-star. And of course, Tom Thibodeau. What he has done for this team has been amazing.
Knicks versus Nets series?
No, because I have my hot take. So let's not let that happen.
Jokes, just kidding.
But all right. There was two other games around the league. I'll just go over them quickly. The Magic and the Hawks. And the Hawks really took over this game in that second quarter. Trae Young playing with goggles. But he still had himself a great game, 25, 5 and 7. Clint Capella, another double-double. I think he's had 11 straight games with double-doubles.
Yeah.
And we mentioned the impact that he had for his team. Lou Williams coming off the bench, one of the best six-men of all time, probably on that Mount Rushmore six-men. 22 coming off the bench. And even though the Magic tried to make that push in the fourth quarter, wasn't enough. Hawks take the win. Also another team that's been playing great basketball, like we mentioned. Yeah. And the other game around the other game around the league was the Timberwolves and the Sacramento Kings, and this was a really entertaining and fun game, back and forth, really up until that fourth quarter, in which, with about I want to say 6.5 minutes to go. I can't remember how many minutes was left, but the Kings were up 115 to 114, and they only scored 5 points since.
Move on.
The Timberwolves, on the other hand, scored 20 points. They went on a 20-5 run in those final minutes. Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, Karl-Anthony Towns. Yeah. Anthony Edwards, 28. Cat, 26 and 18. D'Lo, 28. They got a lot of talent in Minnesota, and I think given some time and given a structure, they can make it work.
Well, I said that early in the season. How really talented Minnesota was. It's just that D'Lo being out and the switch up and everything, constantly having to switch between him and Ricky Rubio for some weird reason. I don't know why they were doing that, but yeah. And then Karl-Anthony Towns, personal situations and stuff like that. I think a lot of things hindered them. But I always knew that Minnesota could be this good. Could they have been like in the playoffs or anything? Not yet, no. But I feel like they kind of been close to a playing game. And not the last.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you on that. The Kings also have a lot of talent, and maybe with new structure. Well, no, because this happened on 15 years, so no. I don't see them being good, to be honest.
Move on, please.
Sacramento basketball.
Chris Webber, I feel so bad for you, man.
Mitch Richmond, I feel so bad for you, man.
Oscar Robertson, I feel so bad.
We don't count him. He played for Milwaukee. And for his sake, I'm pretty sure he says that he played for Milwaukee too. But all right. News around the league. Some unfortunate injury news. One for the Nets. Mentioned that Harden. Well, we haven't mentioned, but mentioned the Nets. James Harden, I believe his injuries has been pushed back, or his timetable to be returned has been pushed back. Still don't know. Still don't have the date on it, but he will be out for a longer period of time. And let's be honest, the only thing stopping the Nets from getting to the finals, winning a chip, is going to be injuries for the most part. Well, besides my hot take, of course. If they get lucky and don't end up facing the Heat or facing an injured Heat team, yeah,
lucky.
There's,
nothing. Go on.
There's nothing really stopping the Nets besides injury. Kevin Durant has been out a lot of games. Kyrie's missed some games, but not really that much. James Harden has now been out, and now with that injury pushing him back, this is gonna suck. for the Nets. So, and of course, Aldridge's situation, him being retired, from forcing him to retire.
Yeah, man. This is another thing that we forgot to allude to when talking about what could potentially hold back the Nets. They're themselves and injuries. You know what I mean? I wouldn't really count Kyrie much in that conversation about missing games due to injury. I feel like his is just
Yeah.
more personal needs. And that's
Yeah, I
no
agree.
disrespect to him. If you got to do what you got to do personally, that's your business. But I'm not going to include him in that injury situation. But yes, KD and James have, well, James is now, and KD has missed a great amount of games due to injury and stuff. And you know what I mean? And like, unfortunately, as much as I don't want to say it, I just want to say, like, just sit them out. Sit them out. They're like, they already have the second seed. How far is the Bucks away from between them anyway?
The Bucks are 3.5 games behind. That's a good cushion.
Well, yeah, that's a good cushion, but I feel like regardless with this next team, they're really good enough to win a couple of more games. I feel like just sit them out, wait to the playoffs, and let's see what happens. Because that's that we need them healthy. We need them healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. For that championship run that they've so desperately wanted, you kind of got to be healthy for that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Other injury news: Miles Turner out indefinitely with a foot injury or leg injury. He has been playing good when he has been on the court. He was my pick for Defensive Player of the Year. When he was playing the shot blocking that he was doing, the post defense that he was putting up, he was
Yeah.
great for the Pacers. This sucks, especially since the Pacers kind of want him to either move up, the play-ins out of the playoffs, or just move up seeding, or just when they get there, just have him. But yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, a really integral part for that Indiana Pacers team, like his defensive ability, well, his two-way abilities, because he's a
Yeah, he's a
really
good offensive
talented
player
offensive
as well.
player, but
I feel like he
even
should be
though
better, but
yes, even though he
he's
has
a good
made that
offensive player.
stride that we thought we could see like years past, he's still talented on both ends of the floor, but that defensive side of the ball, he's stellar at, and they're gonna and the Indiana's gonna really need that, especially going down the stretch in which they're fighting for that playing game spot. You know what I mean? In which is no holds bars, everybody gets their opportunity and chance. It's gonna be real tough for them. We're gonna have to see how Indiana does with this because he's there. He's like basically like how Gobert is for Utah
Yeah,
as their defensive acre. That's Indiana's defensive acre, big time.
yeah, I agree. We'll see. We'll see how it goes in Indiana. But all right, it is prediction time for tonight's sets of games. A lot more games than last night, so let's get into it. Bulls versus Cavs.
Bulls.
Bulls. Thunder versus Pacers.
Pacers.
Pacers. Yeah, Thunder on a 10-game losing streak. Oh, 11 games. Sorry. Uh, First primetime game of the night, NBA TV, 7 o'clock. The Phoenix Suns going against the Philadelphia 76ers.
Suns.
Sixers. Two teams Charles Barkley played for. Two of his best teams. Oh, besides Houston.
the
The Nets going up against the Raptors.
the Nets.
The Nets. The Warriors going up against the Wizards.
I'm gonna pick the Warriors with this one. I know the Wizards.
One team has been playing great basketball. One man has been playing great basketball. I'm gonna go with the Wizards. Big one in terms of the Eastern Conference. The Hawks and the New York Knicks.
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 Don't be biased. I'm about to say.
No, I wasn't gonna be biased, so I was thinking about it. But this could be big time. The Hawks are the 4th seed. The Knicks are the 5th seed. The Knicks are a half game back.
Yeah.
So winning this game means they will put them in 4th seed.
Yeah.
So yeah, big game for both teams. The Jazz going against the Rockets. Yeah, the Jazz. The Pistons. I'll speak for both of us. The Pistons going up against the Mavericks.
Mavericks.
Mavericks. The Heat going up against the Spurs. No LeBron or Kawhi.
Heat.
Heat. Last primetime game of the night's NBA TV, 10 o'clock. The Grizzlies going up against the Clippers.
Clips.
Surprise. I'm going to go with my surprise. The Grizzlies.
Hey, man. Be careful.
Well, I think they get this upset, even though the Clippers have been playing great for like the past month or two.
Yeah, as long as they don't squander the lead like they did in Denver, that's all that matters.
Come on, J.A. The Nuggets going against the Blazers.
Blazers.
Nuggets. And lastly, a rematch from last night's disappointing loss by one team. The Timberwolves going up against the Kings. They're not disappointing. Well, kind of. But yeah.
I got the 3-headed monster.
Well, I made a mistake of picking the Kings last night. So
I told you.
2 nights ago.
Be careful. I told you, be careful.
I mean, yesterday. Yeah, you did tell me to be careful, but you know. And I picked the Pelicans too. You know, the Pelicans and the Kings, they just never disappoint to disappoint me.
Yep. They can never let you down, man. They love you too much.
Watch, I picked the Wolves and the Kings win, but at this point, who cares? The Wolves. All right. I think it's time to wrap things up. Any final thoughts?
I just want to take this time to personally, deep in my sincerest heart. Wait.
We're not doing
don't kill the mood, man.
Fine.
I just want to say I apologize, sir. I will admit we are running this a little bit late, and you can see we're not hyped as much because I kind of fucked it up for both of us with thinking I could sleep on my own time. And I want to apologize, man. I didn't expect that to happen. I swear. When you doze off, sometimes it be like that.
We could have saved this for after, but you wanted to put it on the podcast now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like, you know, why not? Like, let me just apologize. Like, you know, let me just be man about it and apologize. Like, you know, honest to our fans, to audience. You know what I mean? Because we kind of been done with. If I didn't mess you up, we kind of been done with this.
Oh, I know. No, I know. You don't have to tell me. I know.
Yeah, you know. So I apologize.
Yeah, fans, don't or viewers, don't be late for things. You know, try to get on time. Don't fall asleep.
Dude, please try to be on time.
Don't just lie.
I didn't lie. Look, I did say 9 minutes, but then I felt myself dozing off a little bit more. I did not lie.
Unless you can speak to me telepathically, how do I know what?
That was yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
You should give me 9 minutes. 50 minutes go by. If that.
There's no excuse. You're right. There's no excuse. You're right. I'm sorry.
I'm over here watching some guy cook a brisket. Pass the time. But you good. You know, it happens to everybody, I guess.
Like, you know, it happens to the worst of them. It happens to the best of them. I'm a part of that worst, you know?
Yep, the worst of the worst. But hey, we'll get over it. I probably won't let it go, though.
I know you most definitely won't let it go. I most definitely know you won't let it go.
But all right, all jokes aside, thank you guys for watching today's podcast. Make sure to tune into tomorrow's podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Also follow our IG and TikTok down in the description below.
Yes, and once again, I'm Evan.
I'm Ja.
And this is the Mind of Basketball Podcast.